In this video, I'm going to explain why I no longer have a motorcycle and why I'm driving a Camaro, so stick around and watch the full video.
You hate to see them go, but you love to see them leave.
So I started riding back in 2022, and I had always wanted to own a motorcycle. So I bought a Honda Gram thinking, I don't really need an endorsement. It's only 125 cc's. Heard some really crazy stories, and then ended up deciding to get my endorsement at the Harley-Davidson dealership up south of me, which was terrifying. And then I did it, and it was nowhere near as terrifying. So if you're thinking about going to get your endorsement, it's not as scary as I thought. I way overthought the scariness factor. After getting my endorsement, I now could legally ride on the road in my Honda Gram with no problems. And I did that for a while. A while, as in 1 month. And then I sold it, and the same day as selling it for what I paid for it, I went and drove 2.5 hours in a crazy storm and bought the CF Moto 450 NK, which actually there's some videos on my channel. If you want to go look at the bike and see what it looks like, that's it. I owned that thing for probably 8 or 9 months. When I first bought it, going from a Honda Gram to a 450cc, I mean technically 449cc bike, it was a night and day difference. And when I say night and day, I mean, I don't really know a comparison, but just imagine slow to really fast, like 50 miles per hour, 55 top speed to 116. Don't ask me how I know. After riding that for 8 months, it got kind of boring, especially when you're riding with people that have 600s, 1000s, even 700s. It just blew the bike out of the water. And I think it took me a week to decide I wanted to buy a Yamaha R6 because it was my dream bike. And after deciding that, another week passed and I was in Tampa, Florida, 3.5 hours over, driving back from Tampa with an R6 in the back of my buddy's truck, which was a surreal experience for sure. I got back, and once I fixed a few problems that the bike had that I didn't notice in the first place, that thing, let me tell you, that bike was never boring. It was so raw and so much fun to ride. I rode it for as long as I could. I actually rode it up until the day of my crash. That was the bike I crashed on. After crashing the bike, a lot of things started happening in my mind. 2 weeks after I crashed, or a month, anywhere between that time range, my buddy got into a really bad accident. His friend a month prior, so around the same time I crashed, had crashed in a similar manner as him, but had ended up passing away. And so between that and then me recovering from the accident, which by the way, I will make an entire separate video to explain all of the accident and what happened. And a lot of it was definitely my fault for sure. I mean, there was the road, but it was my fault if we're really being honest. I'll make a separate video on that. Same with how I bought the CF Moto. That's a crazy story, that whole dealership. We ended up going to the wrong dealership. Anyways, after driving around and recovering, I had broken my shoulder blade, and so I couldn't ride at all. I ended up having multiple people pull out in front of me, and so many close calls in a bright red sports car before this one, so it was also red. People just didn't see me. At the end of the day, if people can't see a bright red sports car, what makes you think they're gonna see a bike? And unfortunately, riding, that's just part of the risks. You know that you're eventually gonna go down, and there's a high likelihood that somebody's gonna pull out in front of you or run a red, and something's gonna happen. That's just part of riding and part of the lifestyle, is that level of danger. When I got into the accident, I had just started a relationship, and I knew it was gonna go somewhere serious, which was a big deal for me. I knew it was gonna end up, I knew she was gonna be the person I married, and I'm actually engaged right now. We're gonna be married next year, which is crazy. And I wanted to be alive for that, and I knew that if I kept riding, especially after the accident, there was no way I was gonna live, especially with the drivers down here, or at least I would end up seriously injured, and I couldn't do that, because now it wasn't just me, it was somebody else, and she relied on me to be there. I was important. Same with my family. My family relied on me to be there as well. So after the realization of that, I mean, it's a lifestyle. Riding is a lifestyle, so getting out of that lifestyle is not easy, and I still miss riding motorcycles. It's been a while now, but at the end of the day, I want to be alive for everybody. So I sold the R6 first, then I sold the CF Moto, Then I sold my Volvo, which was my red car, the red sports car. It was a Volvo C30. After selling that, I bought a Mazda 3 hatchback that I had for maybe like 3 months. Going from a 170 mile per hour missile from a commuter car or to a commuter car was way too difficult. So I ended up buying this. And so this is where I'm at today. I own the Camaro to scratch the speed itch that I had and still have a little bit, although it helps scratch it just a little bit. And I don't ride motorcycles anymore. I'm friends with plenty of people in the community that ride, some that don't, and that's kind of where we're at. If you enjoyed the video, let me know by hitting the like button, comment anything, I don't care what it is. Comment that you hate my hairy legs because I, didn't realize the fit would, get the fit, man. Get that, anyways. So if you guys have any video ideas for me in the Camaro, let me know. I've got a couple bits of recording equipment that I can use to film some stuff. So yeah, let me know.